Musiker-Board, Lyndon Laney, hello. Congratulations to the 50th birthday of the Laney Company. And there's obviously plenty of history involved from coming from the one that's on the other side, which we just bring over. The original and rocked out version of it, to where we ended now, which is the current incarnation of the supergroup. We turn back to the other one. Yeah, that's a merry-go-round we have here. And perhaps you want to tell us what the needs were when you started to build amplifiers, what made you go the amplifier path instead of continuing on the music path, and how hard it was to keep them alive and running.
Well, it's certainly been a long road. The very first amplifiers that we produced, there was no really good reason except that I needed a better amplifier, and I hadn't got the money to buy one. So the first reason was to actually produce an amplifier for my own use, to play in the bands in West Midlands. From there on, it started to mushroom. I was making an amplifier literally in my father's garden shed. Made the amplifier. Then my friend said, "Oh, that's good. Maybe you could make me one." So I made him one. And from there, in the first year, pretty much that's the way it was. Selling to friends and colleagues and people I played with. And it started to build and build. And then from there, I think the first store we opened up was a place called Ringway Music, which was based in Birmingham, and they started to sell amplifiers. So suddenly it started to get a commercial enterprise. But I was still in the garage, working I think 15 hours a day at times, making amplifiers, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And I then came to a watershed in my life, which I was supposed to go to university. And it was in the September of '67 I was to go up to university. And 2 days before, I thought, I'm quite enjoying doing this. I'll go to university later. I'll do it when I've enjoyed this. So here we are 50 years later, and I've still never been to university. So
you think you're going to find time now to go to university with James taking over the business and trying to leave you room for whatever has to be done?
If you want a clear answer, no, I don't think it will happen.
Okay. So where's your university? Is that on a golf course, in a winery? Where's your personal university?
I think more the winery these days.
Okay.
So anyway, that was the first major decision, and then suddenly we had to start thinking about how are we going to make more amplifiers? How are we going to make them? We can't keep making amplifiers in the garden shed.
Yeah.
So we rented a little unit in the centre of Birmingham. Horrible area, but it was cheap.
Okay.
And then we took on our first guy to help with the building. Was a guy called Colin, and that was in late '67. And he worked with us through till about 2000.
Okay.
Good guy, very nice guy, and we had some great times. So from there it gradually built, but suddenly we started to find other players, and one of the first guys who started to want Laney amplifiers was a guy called Tony Iommi.
Who's that exactly?
I think we all know who Tony is,
yeah.
The Prince of Darkness. But no, Tony was a very good friend, and he was playing in this band in the West Midlands out of Aston, and he needed an amplifier, and we just became friends, and we've remained friends for the next 50 years. Yeah. And Tony started with the Laney amplifier, and then along came this big hit, Paranoid.
Okay.
And so it took off. It took off for Tony and Sabbath in a very, very big way. And Tony has remained very loyal to the Laney products.
Yeah.
And basically we come to this product. This here is one of the first amplifiers that were made back in the shed in the old days. And as it's our 50th anniversary, and having some conversations with Tony, we thought this would be a really good idea that if we could rebuild the LA 100BL from those days. So we have actually done that. And so here we are, the LA 100BL, 50 years later.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we can classify ourselves as an innovative company if over 50 years we've come from that to this and it's still the same. But it was a good exercise. The interesting thing about the amplifier was reproducing that old sound as we did in those early days. And that proved more difficult now than it did back in 1967.
Yeah.
Finding the right transformers, because the people who used to make them have all gone.
All gone, yeah.
All finished. Getting the valves right, getting the old potentiometers, even the old tag panels and tag strip was quite an exercise for us to do.
Okay.
But we did it. It's taken us a year to do it. And we've got the 50 units and we're very proud of them, and it replicates that old sound with the nice subs in there that made the LA 100BL what it was. So,
and I've been in Birmingham to visit the factory, and one thing I learned there, because you said you're not very innovative if you come from that to that one, but you kind of left out some really innovative stuff in between that you've been working on. But what I understood is that this is kind of a new thing for you to come back to an old amplifier, because most of the times you never turned around, you just turned forward.
Yes. Absolutely right, Martin. Absolutely right. And I joke about not being innovative, but the Laney company has moved on. And one of the philosophies over all that 50 years is we want solutions for musicians.
Yeah.
We want to listen to musicians what they want, not just make more and more amplifiers. We always like to talk to guys what their requirement is, and there's been several solutions. The next thing from the LA 100BL was the clip, because in those days, master volume amplifiers and overdrive, it was a different thing altogether. So we brought out the clip, which gave this distortion and a high gain opportunity, which was again another good amplifier for us, which we're proud of. From there we moved on even more gain, because back in the late 70s and early 80s,
everybody was
just gain.
Can I get another gain stage on top of my 4 gain stages?
That's right. And how do you control it? That was our big problem.
Yeah.
And that led to the AOR.
Yeah.
Which again was a very, very high gain amplifier. Alongside this, obviously, we produced a lot of consumer products and products at different levels. But our real heart has always been and still continues to be in tubes.
Yeah.
Very important part of our business. As we moved on into, late 80s, we then moved into a more retro, lower gain, and we introduced the combo, the VC30, which was an exercise in producing a Class A amplifier, and again going back to those Class A rich tones of the 60s. And we also revamped at that time the GH100L.
Yeah.
Very interesting, because that's a very open amplifier based upon the LA 100BL.
Okay.
A very successful product for us, but then it changed again. Musicians were saying, we need a foot switch, we need high gain, but we also need a clean sound, and we need at least 3 points in between.
Yeah.
So, listening to the guys, we produced the VH100R, which was really no different from the rear end of this, but with a completely different modern
polished
4-channel foot switch. So I can go from high gain to clean sound to a crunch, tick, 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 there it is.
There it is, yeah.
So listening to the musicians, this is what the guys wanted in that stage.
Yeah. And I also must say that from the Laney users, musicians that I know, they kind of stick with you for it. They get that family feel and flair, because obviously you care about them, and then you give them the product they need, and in the meantime you make sure that they're not starving.
We do our best. No, we were very much a family company. A very important part of us. We like to see ourselves as a friendly company. We enjoy music. We're not just in it for the money.
Yeah.
We're here for the music and to be a family of musicians, which is, for me, is a great thing, because having set up the company and built it, of which I'm very proud, what do you do with it? So I don't want to sell my company because we've got lots of people. Sell it to somebody else? No. I want the company to stay within the Laney control.
Okay.
And to continue the ethos that we have of being friendly, listening to musicians, and enjoying our music. Really enjoying our music. So for me, it was a wonderful...
Did he change his mind?
No, not yet. James was working in advertising. He'd done university, and he'd been to university. He was working in advertising, Canary Wharf in London. And then one day I received this phone call just before Christmas, which was, "Dad, I'd like to come and join the company."
Okay.
And I remember my words to him quite clearly. I said, "This isn't a business, this isn't a company, this is a hobby."
Okay.
And he said, no, I want to come. And I said, "I tell you what, next month we're going to NAMM show. I'll get you a ticket, come over to NAMM show, see how it works. Talk to the guys, see what it is." And that was now 14 years ago. James joined the company. I was very happy to see him there. But the young guy, he needs to learn. He's a very fast learner. He's a sharp guy. A very, very fast learner. Took on various aspects of the company. And I'm so glad that 4 years ago he took over all the direction, all the management of the company.
Okay.
And I can retire.
Well.
No, the reason I retire is because the new team, the guys there, we've got people in our factory like me have done it for 50 years.
Yeah.
We've got lots of guys who've done more than 30 years.
Yeah.
But we also have to bring in new blood and new guys. So James has set up his own team, new people for the future. And this is working out absolutely great. And it's an absolute delight for me to see some of the new products that they have developed in this new regime. I understand, I'm sure we'll talk some products later.
Yeah.
But we're interested in the musician. He's interested in the musician. We want to go forward for the next 50 years.
So congratulations for the past 50 years. And I'm really looking forward to the next 50 years and what James does with it. Have a good time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Martin.
And if that for some reason the sound didn't work out, I come to South Africa and we make a quiet recording.
Even better. I might just find a bottle of wine.
Okay, one bottle of wine would help. Yeah, agreed. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.